Before the Mandalorian was stuck babysitting and Boba Fett got fat, there was Jango Fett, a simple man trying to make his way in the universe, and the star of his own gritty game most of you probably forgot about. Released in 2002 for the PS2, Star Wars Bounty Hunter lets you strap on the jetpack of the galaxy's most dangerous mercenary, but is it worth spending the credits on? Developed by the sorely missed LucasArts, it's a prequel to Attack of the Clones and ties into it directly. The game explores how Jango became the Republic's clone template. Count Dooku and Zam Wesell from the movie have roles in Bounty Hunter. The game does a good job at fleshing out characters who only get minor backstories in the movie. Attack of the Clones was always the worst of the 6 movies in my opinion, but Little Overnight Tom always thought Jango was the shit. Cool design, cool voice and a cool ship. So does this game live up to my childhood hero, the coolest man in the galaxy? Let's find out. Sidious and Dooku need a Dark Jedi taken out and someone to use as a template for the clone army. Dooku suggests they can kill 2 porgs with 1 stone. Dooku will host a competition of sorts for the best of the best mercenaries. Whoever can take down the Dark Jedi will be worthy enough to be cloned. This is where Jango comes in. He is tasked with tracking down the Dark Jedi, which is easier said than done. Montross, someone who shares a past with Jango, has also been hired for the same job. This means time is of the essence if Jango wants to tag this bounty. Jango will travel across various planets like Coruscant, Tatooine and Uv 4 in order to get closer to his goal. That's the basic setup. The actual story is pretty good for what it is. The game takes the universe and characters seriously. The tone feels gritty with a focus on the underworld of Star Wars. Jango is just as badass here as he is in Attack of the Clones, maybe even more so, since he actually gets development here. You find out why he wants a young clone for himself, which isn't explored in the movie. His relationship with Zam Wesell is explored a lot here as well. I never really got why she was in the movie. The game finally gives a good reason why Jango used Zam instead of doing the job himself, something the movie barely explains. But it's weird, she doesn't use her shapeshifting at all, which was literally her coolest feature. Side note, Padme's assassination plan in the movie was still dumb. Just shoot her, you're a bounty hunter. Anyway, back to the game. They could have really half-assed the story and just have a cool character shooting things, but they went the extra mile and I'm glad they did. Cutscenes are well shot and use that John Williams score well. The story's got some great lines, a few laughs and that classic action movie energy. Jango has plenty of fun one-liners, like a part where he's holding someone over a ledge and they say let him go, so Jango replies if you insist and drops him. My favourite line from Jango is, "Discretion is my speciality," after he shoes up most of Tatooine. Jango will flirt with his handler Roz, who is a pink female version of Watto. Whenever we saw these two chat, it always came off as charming. You can tell she really cares about him, and not just for the money. Mr. Crab plays Montross, Jango's rival. He does a good job of his lines, but he doesn't get much to work with in the game. He's not bad by any means, but he's definitely not Virgil from DMC3. You have 3 boss fights with him, but only on the last one do you get a bit of character for him. You can read about their rivalry in a comic you can unlock in the menu, which remedies this fact a bit, but you can't read it all until you beat the game, which is a bit late to add to the story. It doesn't help his boss fights are just terrible. His second boss fight he just flew away from me. My favourite character is from the prison level, so you break into a maximum security prison on an asteroid. You get to the elevator and it's controlled by this old alien. Jango's like, we're not going to have a problem, are we? This old alien. He's like, no sir, I hate it here. I pretend to be deaf but I hear everything. Wanna know how to blow up the place? What a guy. I'd probably do the same thing if someone broke into work. My absolute favourite moment from this game is when Jango finally gets his iconic ship. You don't start off with it, Jango steals it from the prison. Roz asks, so what are you going to call her? And Jango says, she's the Slave One. Fuck yeah it is, screw you Disney for trying to change it to Fire Spray. It'll always be called the Slave One to me. So it's a good story, but it's the gameplay as well. The gameplay is solid and fun, but nothing spectacular. It's a third person shooter. You can jump and roll. Aiming can be done automatically, just tap the shoot button, or with a lock-on, or you can aim manually with the left trigger. The lock-on isn't perfect, it can be difficult to pick the right targets. It's also the same button as reset the camera, so you'll probably end up doing that instead of locking on from time to time. What makes this game stand out from the crowd is the jetpack. It's pretty sick. Basically, when you press the front left trigger, you will use it. If you hold it down and don't move, you'll gain height. When you move and use it, you will move around at that height. It's very intuitive to use. Your fuel is shown in the bottom left. You don't have a lot of fuel, you can only fly for about a few seconds, which stops it from becoming game breaking. Your fuel will refill automatically when you're on the ground. It refills quite fast, so you can use your jetpack often. It will become like second nature. It's super fun and satisfying to use. It's useful in combat to gain the high ground on your enemies or to dodge rockets, and also useful outside of combat for getting around quickly. The jetpack adds verticality and chaos to the combat. Just don't pair it with jumping, the game freaks out a bit when you do. You have very limited weapons, you will mostly be using the iconic dual blasters, but they are enough to get the job done. They have infinite ammo. Jango will fire his blasters as fast as you can pull the trigger. This did lead to my finger getting tired by the end of the game. He also does this cool thing where he'll shoot at 2 different enemies at once, which was sick. But I don't think there is any way to control this, he just does it automatically. They are fun to use all the way up to the end of the game. The rest of Jango's arsenal are more situational. If you saw him use it in the movie, it's probably here. You've got your fists, which you will never use. You have detonators. The longer you hold the trigger, the further you throw them. Poison darts, which are one shot, one kill on most enemies. The rockets, which can be shot out of the jetpack, very useful against bosses. They shoot in an arc, which could be hard to aim if not for the lock-on. The flamethrower, which is just as useless here as it is in the movie. Show me one time this was used in the movies and shows, and it was useful. I bet you can't. Boba used and got stuck in the Sarlacc pit. Mando used it on the Dark Troopers and it did nothing. So it being useless in the game's fit in. It uses jetpack fuel to use. The range is short and it's hard to aim. If you manage to set someone on fire, they'll run around screaming, which is cool. I think they can damage you. Later on you get a sniper rifle, which was fun to use and has a lot of zoom levels. You switch to first person to use it. It's great to use before enemies notice you. Once they do, they will most likely hit you before you can hit them. Enemies can sometimes drop heavy weapons like a grenade launcher, blaster rifle or turret. These only hold so much ammo and you'll lose them between levels. They are fun but nothing game changing. You can also use stationary turrets you find. You will also be able to cut open grates with a cutter. It looks slick and makes you feel like a bounty hunter. Sure, they could have had these doors just open, but it's not as fun. The last pieces of your arsenal are to do with the bounty system. During missions you can scan NPCs with your visor. If they have a bounty on them, it will pop up with their names and crimes, which is cool. You then have to mark them. Then it's up to you to capture them dead or alive. You can't capture them unless you have marked them first. They were worth more to you alive. You have to use your snare to stop the target, then press X on them to claim them. You can also kill them and press X. It's a completely optional system. The credits you earn from the bounties are used to unlock artwork in the menu. I'm glad this system is here, but it's not great in practice. It can really slow the game down if you're trying to collect them all. You cannot tell which NPCs are bounties till you scan them, which takes time. This is fine when not in fights, but during fights it can become a real hassle. Then not accidentally killing them during fights is harder than it sounds. I think the system could have been improved if a little indication came up telling you a bounty was near. Also, when you scan on enemies and press the next weapon, it'll be your fist instead of your blaster, which can leave you exposed in the heat of battle. The mission design is linear, but there are lots of varied levels. Like a chase through the city, a jailbreak, or one level where it's the same as in Dark Forces. You get captured by a hut and lose all your equipment and have to fight a crate dragon. Like it's the same setup as in that game. A thing I love compared to Dark Forces is the fact that when you press a button to open a door, the door that opens will 99% of the time be in view when you press the button. Such outstanding design. They aren't afraid to shake up the gameplay from time to time either. One level will have you in a sniper section, and one level will take away your jetpack. So get this right, it's too hot on Tatooine to use your jetpack. Tell that to Boba in episode 6. Wait, is that why you fell into the pit? But the vast majority of the time you're going to be blasting. The prison level is set up like you're going to sneak in, like there's going to be a stealth section, but no, you do a Frank Rails and just start blasting, which can get slightly repetitive by the end of the game. You can even blast when shimmying across a ledge. Look at him one-handed shimmying. The fucking grip strength this man had in his right hand is incredible. There is a surprising amount of variety in the enemies. Most are guys that shoot you with blasters. But there's also a baby cat creature from the arena on Geonosis, Gamorrean guards who pack a punch, and there are these zombie-like creatures towards the end of the game. Blasting sections are broken up with some platforming. It's never too hard, it normally incorporates your jetpack in some way, like having to hang off a ledge till you refuel so you can fly some more. It can be easy to get lost sometimes. I never need to look at where to go, some doors aren't obvious, or you'll randomly need to backtrack to a previous room to proceed. Boss fights are where the game really let me down. First, I would like to say I think a lot of mine were glitched. The boss fight on Coruscant, the ship didn't move. Same for the crate dragon later on. For the others, you can just spam your rockets and the blasters and be fine. The only boss I had to think about when fighting was the final boss, because she can reflect your blasters. You'll have to think a bit outside of the box to beat her, which was a nice change. The game isn't too difficult, at least it's not as hard as I thought it was when I was a kid. The only way you can gain health is through pickups, found in the environment or dropped off by defeated enemies. You get 5 lives to beat a level, otherwise you have to start it again, which honestly isn't too bad. It's only happened once for me. Checkpoints are quite generous, plus the enemies you do kill stay dead when you respawn, which is nice. The AI isn't smart, they can blow themselves up, but they will absolutely swarm you if they can, so be on your toes. In later levels, snipers will be a big problem, but if you take your time, you should be fine. The camera can be an issue sometimes. It doesn't know if it should follow you or the enemy you're locked onto. Then when you jump, it can get confused sometimes. Not all the time, but enough to mention it here. Once you beat the game, you will unlock Boba Fett as a skin, which is a great reward. You can also unlock outtakes similar to Toy Story 2, which were incredibly charming. Graphically, the game looks fine. I'm playing the remaster. Levels and characters have a lot of personality, charm and detail. Just don't show me face models. No, please! Jango, put your massive forehead away, please! Animations are a bit stiff, but still work fine. A nice detail throughout the game is when you kill an enemy near a ledge, they will always fall off it in a cool way, which I thought was lovely when I noticed it. I like how I can use the jetpack flames to light up areas as well. Sound-wise, the game is great. It's John Williams' score for a lot of it. If you have access to the iconic score, you better use it. Blasters sound just like they do in the movies. It sounds like Star Wars through and through. The atmospheric audio sells the darker tone compared to the movies. Voice acting is actually the standout for me. They got Tamura Morrison and Christopher Lee to reprise their roles, and they do a great job. Clancy Brown is as good as ever as the villain, but that's like saying water is wet. Even side characters are well acted. Ultimately, I had a lot of fun with Bounty Hunter. Has it aged in some places? Of course. But at its core, it's fun. The jetpack is very satisfying to use, Jango is awesome, and the story is better than I was expecting. The camera can be frustrating, and the game can get repetitive by the end. But I would still recommend this to anybody if you want a quick shooter to play, not just Star Wars fans. Honestly, if someone were to print money, make a sequel to this where you play as Boba Fett. Like, why hasn't this happened? Time to rank it. The forces tell me to put it at number 18. I think I had more fun with this gameplay and story compared to Sea of Stars, which was fun, just didn't blow me away. But I don't think it can go above Shadow Man. That game was very unique, with a very interesting world and fun shoot in. So yeah, number 18 sounds good to me. This bounty is worth hunting down.